We should never make apologetics for the excesses that Arabs and Muslims have given themselves to with respect to racial thought and with respect to the enslavement of our people. We have to speak against that. That is our moral obligation, not just as Black people, but as human beings, not to minimize those excesses. However, portraying them as things that are inherent within the religion of Islam itself perpetrates a fraud and a fiction that comes from the mouths of the imperialists themselves. And that's where our Afrocentric brothers and sisters, that's where John Henrik Clarke, that's where these giants, because I read those books, Chancellor Williams, and all of them, okay? But they should have asked the question, what is the source of my information? What is the source of my narrative on Islam? And they would have immediately perceived that the source of their narrative on what Islamic history in Africa was white imperialists. Because they were not reading the Arabic materials themselves. They were not talking to West African Muslim scholars. They overlooked the fact that Sheikh Anta Diop, the founder in many ways of modern Afrocentrism, is a disciple of Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba. He belonged to the Tariqa Muridiyya, and his Black nationalist thought was first cultivated in Murid Quran schools, where children turn over their alwa. I got one around here somewhere. Give me 1 second. Where children turn over their alwa that they use to write the Quran and get lessons on vowing and the consonants on the back. And with those lessons in vowing and consonants on the back, they are able to write African languages using the Arabic script. The Islam of our ancestors was not one that rejected African languages, not one that rejected African culture, and it was not one that was imposed upon our ancestors at the point of the sword. That is a colonial fiction that unfortunately was swallowed whole by some of our brothers and sisters. And what those scholars like Usman Khan, like Sheikh Anta Babu at University of Pennsylvania, like Rudiger Seizeman, author of Divine Flood. What this last generation of scholars has done is to actually rectify through appealing to the primary sources in the Arabic language, to a critical reading of those European language archival sources, and through doing oral history work in African languages, actually redeem the factual history of how Islam was spread amongst our ancestors, which is that indigenous West Africans themselves adopted this religion voluntarily and then spread it and taught it, that there was no external military conquest that forced Islam on our people. And so therefore, a lot of the false equivalencies that are framed between Islam as an external alien force that is inflicted upon Black people are simply categorically false and completely out of place.